Let's see. Well, I did Borne Away. That is a tune, it's the title track from my new record, and I made a video for it, which is sort of a Carney, Fellini-inspired drama that ends up on the beach, Coney Island. And the other tune was Anything at All, which is also from the new record. I played that honestly because for some reason that's the song that's been getting some radio play and seems to be popular from the album. So I thought, well, I'll do a version of that one. Why not? Because it's funny that's a song that I haven't been doing live, and now that I'm doing it, I've been enjoying it. So I might bring it back into the show.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, the one thing that I've noticed about you is that you're always working. You're always, and even just reading up on some of your, putting the Borne album together, which, by the way, perfect ending to the Borne series if you want to just lend that song eventually whenever, wrap that up, right? I mean,
yeah.
Well, it could be like fade to black, Jeremy Renner kills Matt Damon, right?
I know, it's a good idea.
See? I mean, you have film experience, right? So, I mean, anyway. But I do notice that you work pretty regularly, whether you're writing for someone else or, or whatever. Going into this album, you have like a ton of songs, right? That narrowing it down. Is it always the case with you? I mean, this is your 12th album, but I get the feeling with you that you probably come in and you have like 100 songs and you have to whittle that down.
Actually, not usually. Usually I'll have, maybe 16, 17 tunes that I'll record, maybe 18 that I'll record for a record, and then whittle that down, pare that down to the album.
It's a lot easier than 100, right?
Yeah, but this time I just happen to have a lot of songs, and so I ended up choosing the tunes from this record from a group of more like 30 songs.
Okay.
Which is unusual. I don't usually, write that many for a particular record, but in this case I wasn't writing for a record. I just was writing a lot of tunes, and then I thought I'd make a record. Actually, at first I just thought I'd record, and I wanted to do something solo and intimate, because all my other records have been, with a band, especially the last record, Sub Rosa, which was with string arrangements and horns and guest vocalists,
right.
And just a lot of musicians. Big project. I wanted to do something super direct and intimate, and so this record really started more as a document. I just wanted to go in and record these tunes, and so.
By the way, this is very informal. I'm going to even say, that's my dad calling.
Oh.
I don't know what, I should get it and just put you on and be like, why are you interrupting my interview? Go ahead, I'm shutting this off.
Okay.
By the way, the dick behind the camera is Jon Chattman. Go ahead.
So as I was saying, this time, I didn't record with the intention of making a record. It was more, I have all these tunes, I'm going to go to the studio with my guitar and record, and so I recorded over 2 days. I recorded probably about, 22 songs or something, just solo acoustic. And then I began going back to the studio every couple of weeks with a new tune or two, adding to that group, and then at the same time adding overdubs to what I'd already done. And finally picked out the 14 songs that ended up on Borne Away, and mixed them and finished it and made it into a record. And I thought, well, I just did release Sub Rosa a few months ago, but so what? I'm just going to put out another record. I don't care. And so this one came out I think like 11 months after Sub Rosa was released. So probably saturated a record buying market that doesn't buy records, but for me,
I was going to say, people don't buy records anyway.
Yeah, so that was the difference.
You should just release like 18 EPs every year, and that's the way to go.
Yeah, why not?
So, I mean, a lot of your work is very collaborative, like you said. I mean, are you at home with working with other artists, or just by yourself, or it doesn't really matter?
I like working with other artists a lot.
You would have to. I mean, otherwise you must hate yourself because all you you work with a lot of different people.
No, I produce artists. I produced an album for a band this year actually, and I write songs with people and for people. In the past couple of years, I've focused a lot more on my own thing than I have on working on other people's projects. In the past, sometimes the balance was shifted a little more to the other side, but past couple of years, I've really wanted to just totally invest in, you know, my energy into my own music and my own singing and performing, and it's been really fun. But I'm, you know, as I said, I already did produce another band this year, and I'm sure that I'll continue to work with other people. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm part of a project right now, which is with the composer Jon Zorn, along with a couple other people, wrote lyrics to compositions of his, and we've been performing them at concerts all over Europe mostly.
You're with a couple of different artists, though, right? When
On that, yeah, it's me, Mike Patton, and Sophia Ray, who wrote lyrics for Zorn stuff. But the band is an incredible band. John Medeski's on keys, and Mark Rebo guitar, Joey Barron, Kenny Wallace, and Trevor Downs, Cyril Baptista, Zorn conducting. It's been really fun.
I bet.
Yeah.
Are you noticing, like, I would think, like, even maybe 5 years ago, everyone's just still talking about the Nora Jones, the Grammy, and all that. Was that always, like, a lead-in question for you, and, like, very hard to shake that?
Yeah, it still is. I mean, it never...
Because I'm not asking the question.
I know. It never bothered me, but the only time that it bothers me, or that it has ever really bothered me, is when I'm about to perform, and I'm backstage or about to go on, and someone's doing an intro, and they haven't told me what they're going to say, and suddenly they're talking about Nora. And I think, well, that's sort of annoying. I don't want to have to go out after that.
Right.
You know, I'd rather we talked about my new record or something, you know. But otherwise, yeah, people still refer to that.
Which is totally cool. I'm just saying it must be, you know, you're so many solo albums in at this point.
Yeah.
It would just be like one amazing footnote for your career. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't define who you are just because you happen to.
Right.
It was fairly early in your career too, right?
Yeah, I mean, not
early-ish.
Well, yeah, early-ish, because I had already been in a band called Once Blue, and we were on EMI Records.
Right.
That was we put out that record in 1990.
That was a duo, right?
Yeah. And was it 96? No, 95. And so I had already done that and toured a lot. We made 2 records, and I had already made a solo album of my own, and then the project with Nora came along. So yeah, it was early on.
Right.
I was about, how old was I? I was about 30 when I started playing with Nora. 29 and 30.
I mean, that's still pretty young. I mean,
I guess so, yeah.
So,
and how old I am now.
I toured with Nora during Vietnam. It was amazing. So talk to me just a little bit before we wrap this up. I know you're going to be on the road promoting the album, and I mean, are you going to spoil us again, saturate the market again, like 10 months from now we're going to have a new record? We'll be like, come on, dude, you just released one? What's wrong with you?
I got some recordings planned actually for next month, but we'll see what it's going to be. But in the meantime, I'm going to do some shows around this record. I'm going to do some West Coast dates in October in LA, San Francisco, or actually in Oakland and Ventura, and then some New York stuff as well.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, good luck.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.